Don't ever post unedited photo, because if you do, you're missing out on a huge difference between an unedited and edited photo. And in this video we'll get through how I personally edit in Adobe Lightroom and why I don't ever post unedited photo online. Coming up. Okay, so here I have Lightroom opened with a simple photo, and let's jump right into it. It's a simple photo shot on a cloudy day in a forest, so as you can see, shadows are really dark and it seems like an unusable photo, but this is exactly why I've chosen this photo, because I want to show you the power of editing. So we'll get a really beautiful photo out of this, just bear with me. So we'll start in this panel as always. We won't mess with temperature or tint, but we want to get exposure up, so this should work fine. Now contrast down, of course, this should do good. Now highlights, I would like to bring them way down like this. Then shadows up, won't touch the whites, blacks maybe just a little down, just like this. And what I like about clarity is a negative space of it, so I'll get it down. I don't like this look, it's horrible, so a little down like this should do fine. Now this is the part where I separate from the most of the photographers, but I don't bother with this tone curve a lot, so let's just skip it. So here we have luminance, hue and saturation, and what we'll do is we'll change orange and red, which are two the most common elements in this photo and on skin tones in general. So what I want to change here is actually in hue red and orange to plus side, red a little more, so something like this should work fine. Then move to saturation, where we'll actually reduce the reds and bump the oranges, something like this. And the same on luminance, we'll reduce the reds and up the oranges, just like this. Okay, so moving next to split toning, we'll apply just a tiny bit of it, so yellow highlights with not too high saturation, because we don't want to overdo this, because a lot of people overdo this and it looks horrible, so it's better not to do it at all than doing it too much, so keep that in mind. Then we'll use blue shadows as usual, nothing special here, just like this, maybe a little to the right. Okay, and then saturation way down to 8, so as I said, we don't want to overdo this, and maybe, okay, perfect. Now going to details, I want to sharpen this a little, because if you can remember, we did clarity to a negative number, so what this does is it smooths the picture, so we want to sharpen it back, so we'll sharpen it back. Radius and details are fine. Masking, we want to mask it a little, because if we take a closer look, I don't know if you can see this, but it's overall better if you mask it just a little, not too much again. You don't want to overdo anything of this. Then luminance and noise reduction in general is something that I do pretty often, because you know, there are situations where you have to use higher ISO to get the shutter speed you want, so you can fix some of these things in post like this, but don't go crazy with ISO. I think that's fine. We'll the other things alone, so we won't touch lens correction or transformation or effects. But the thing that I want to take a deeper look at is camera calibration, because I don't ever use it as a camera calibration, but I use it as one of the most powerful menus in Lightroom, because it can change the game of your editing as it did for me. It can simply and very quickly get the look of your image to a whole new level and to a desired colors and all that stuff. So let's start. So I want to reduce the tint just a little, just like that should work fine. And then red, green and blue primary colors are one of the best things to play with in Lightroom, if you ask me, because look at that, I would get hue to around plus 50 and we will reduce in saturation just like this. I will leave green as it is, just saturation a little bit down, and then hue way back down on hue, so just like this. And if we take a look at the picture again, blue did big difference. This is with hue on blue applied, and this is without it. With blue applied, without it. So this is something that I very often do, and I like to do this on a lot of my pictures, especially recently when I developed my editing style more and I'm more consistent with how my images look. So this is like my signature, this low hue on blue primary under camera calibration, which again is not used for calibration at all, but more like editing. So if we turn off camera calibration in general, not just blue primary, so you can see this is without camera calibration, with camera calibration. To stay clear here, there's nothing wrong with my camera, this is for editing purposes only. So yeah, this is how I do things. So I have very similar preset here, which is actually my preset. So I'm not a big fan of buying presets online, because I think that's not something that will help you at all, because you need to develop your editing style, you need to suit the needs of your camera, of the thing that you're shooting and the way that you shoot, because all that factors matter, and this is why you need your own presets and not the presets that you would buy online, because I think that's just money wasted. But I have no idea, I haven't bought any in my entire life, but I think you can get way better effect with editing it yourself, and if you get the look that you want, you can save it as your own preset, and you exactly know what you were doing here, what kind of look have you originally wanted to get, and you can apply it to the other photos as well. So your photos means your presets, so your camera and your presets will pair well, and if you buy some online, you never know, maybe not. So if you click on this preset to apply it, you can see a very similar result, just exposure was lower that time, so we need to bump this up. But overall you can see that this preset is very similar to the thing that I've edited today. So, and if you take a look at before and after, you can really see a big difference, and this is what I meant with the power of editing. Not manipulation or anything like this, but just color correction and exposing it right, and all that sweet little stuff that makes a big difference in a photo. So why don't I ever post a picture which is not edited online. Think about it. Why would I post this unedited photo if I can take like few minutes, or if I'm starting from scratch some more time, but still, why wouldn't I take some time and edit my photo and get out much better product, better image at the end than unedited photos? So you can edit it whenever you want. I'm editing it in Adobe Lightroom, but that's just my personal choice, and the most photographers actually use Lightroom as well. Okay, so my number one suggestion for all the photographers out there, for everyone who's starting out or for everyone who wants to level up the editing skills, I suggest to get the Lightroom or any software that you can and test the sliders, test what each slider does from one side to another, try it, and you will get familiar with each setting on the program, so you will exactly know how to tweak something if you would need to in the future. And this is how you develop your editing style. Like, make your own presets, don't buy them online, and you will get the best result that way, and you will know what you're actually doing, and you won't be just copying someone else's work. Because if you're using someone else's preset, is actually the same as editing someone else's photo, so you just get a half of it, you know, at least in my opinion. That's it for this video. I hope I've showed you new perspective of editing and why editing is so important and how it can transform a useless photo to a really good, nice edited photo without manipulation that a lot of people do, like overdoing Photoshop and that stuff, but in words of color correction and exposure correction and stuff like that, so you can save your photos and upgrade them to whole new levels. So I hope you've enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe and like the video if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments what program for editing do you use and how you're personally editing your photos. I'm curious, so I'll see you in the comments, and also see you in the next one.